Hello, and welcome to Buck's Blast Podcast, the official podcast of Buchanan Community Schools, offering an inside look at the people, events, and initiatives that make our school district a vibrant and thriving part of the community. Each episode features interviews with students, staff, teachers, and community members, spotlighting their achievements, stories, and the unique programs that shape the educational experience at Buchanan Community Schools. In this episode of the podcast, we dive into the high-tech world of the Megahurtz Robotics Team. Hear from students and their mentors as they share what it takes to design, build, and compete with their custom-built robots. From teamwork and troubleshooting to competing, you'll get a behind-the-scenes look at the passion and precision driving this impressive crew. Whether you're a STEM enthusiast or just curious about the future of technology, stay tuned because you're in for a treat. And now, here's Superintendent Patricia Robinson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Buck's Blast podcast. Today, we are joined by our robotics team, some members from our robotics team, as well as a mentor and a coach. And I'll go around and have them introduce themselves.
My name's Phillip. I'm the Director of Technology for Buchanan Schools and I guess the founding and lead mentor for Megahurtz Robotics. That's FRC Team 5056.
Hey, I'm Jesse Layne. I teach IT fundamentals here at Buchanan Schools for the CTE program. I am also now a mentor for the team, but I spent about 6 years as a student on Buchanan's robotics team.
I'm Sylias Kirk, and this is my second year in the robotics team.
I'm Madelyn Henderson, and this is my first year on the robotics team.
Well, good. Thank you, Sylias and Maddie, for joining us, as well as Mr. Layne and Mr. Place. So, Mr. Layne and Mr. Place, I'd like to start with you guys in giving us an overview of Megahurtz Robotics.
An overview. Let's go with the background first. So it's been, I think it was about 15 years ago when I started the technology club at Buchanan High School. We needed a place for kids that didn't do other after-school activities, that were the geeks or the nerds of the group, that, they weren't playing ball or whatever, so they needed something to do. So we started the technology club, and that slowly over time, is about 2014, morphed into the robotics program. And I guess from there, the rest is kind of history. It's been a huge success for us, and we just finished our 11th season.
Okay. So what are the goals of robotics?
For us, we actually break down our season, and I teach the kids what we call our big three, which for us they're the driving force behind what we do and why we do it. So the first one, and the order is important. So our number one goal each season is to learn. That's why we do this program. The second one is to share. What good is learning all of this knowledge if you're not sharing that, teaching others? But sharing also means a competition. That means sharing our resources and our talents and sometimes our parts because things break and the reciprocation at events is absolutely amazing. If you're missing something or you forget something or something blows up and you don't have a spare, there's 39 other teams there. Chances are somebody's got one that they can loan you. So sharing is a big part of it. And then the third one is to compete. And I drive this point pretty hardly. It's not winning. This is where we kind of differ from what you would consider a typical team. Our goal each season is to get to competition, to compete, to show what we've accomplished throughout the year. Our build season is 8 weeks long. That's a long time to be practicing, working, honing our skills to get to that final competition. And so getting to that competition is the final for us. Now, if we can win, hey, that's even better. But competing and doing those three things in that order, though, that's really what we strive for each year. Okay. We're part of the first robotics organization. I stress that we're not battle bots, right? I mean, we don't build a robot with the idea of destroying or tearing down another team or another robot. everyone that is there to learn and to show what they can do. So we all practice this concept of what's called gracious professionalism. And there's lots and lots of definitions. In fact, we could do an entire show on just what gracious professionalism is. But the crux of it is that we're all there to do the same thing, to learn or to work together. And we also have to understand that we have this environment of what they call cooperation, where you are working together with your opponents and your alliances at the same time. So I mentioned 39 teams, so there's like 40 teams at an event. Those 40 teams will, if everything works out correctly, work with and play against each of the other teams. So 1 minute you're trying to score against someone, and the next minute they're helping you score against someone else. And that type of environment makes it, the competition is extremely intense, but as soon as the game is over, we're all friends again. It's like, okay, now, best part about it, and I think the way that I really like to describe it is if something happens to your bot caused by another team during a match, that team is going to be right there at the end of that match to help you put it back together.
What a great value to learn as kids then transfer that from robotics into the real world, into whatever work organization they're in. So you're not only do you want to be successful as yourself, but you also want your entire organization to be successful. So it's a great transferable skill that they're learning.
Absolutely. I agree completely, and that's why we do this program.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So you talk about the team. Who can participate in this, in Megahurtz Robotics?
We are fortunate in our school district because our high school campus starts at 8th grade. FRC in Michigan essentially begins with high school. They don't give you a specific grade level, but they say high school. So our program is 8 through 12. You can be a member of the team and participate fully from anywhere in 8th grade and 12th grade. It's great to get started at the beginning, if I can encourage that. And I have students like Jesse, and I have had several other students that have started and gone through 4 or 5 years of the program. Some of 6, because we actually have 5th-year seniors that have gone on to do the EMC or whatever that program is called. Mm-hmm. I've had students join their senior year and wish that they had joined sooner. So yeah, any point in there, there's no limit to that. We definitely encourage any student that's interested in any sort of STEM or even STEAM to come see what we're about and possibly contribute.
Okay, great.
And we're not even limited to just Buchanan students. Since we are an organization separate from the school, we invite others who maybe live in the area and don't have a team near them. If they can get to our facilities and be a part of the team, they're more than welcome to join.
Great. So, Mr. Layne, what are some of the specific activities that students participate in?
So a lot of people think of robotics and they'll just think of the quote-unquote nerd stuff. Mm-hmm. They're going to think of the engineering, the math behind it. They're going to think of the programming, all of that kind of stuff. And while that is a core part of it, we have to deal with electrical, automation, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other types of practical experience that you get. There's other aspects of the team. There are those that have to do clerical type stuff. They have to keep track of who we're getting our sponsorships from. We have to reach out to get sponsorships. We have to do all of that stuff. There's safety. That's a huge part of the team. All kinds of things. Now, other activities, we don't just build robots each year. Our competition season only extends for 4 months, really, out of the year. For the rest of that year, we are also doing things in the community. We just finished Plow Day. We show kids what we do, driving robots. Mm-hmm. We help out Scarecrow charities when we need to. Every year, we go and tour Edgewater Automation here in town, right around the time that they do the poker run. All kinds of stuff, really.
Mm-hmm. So this keeps you busy. There's lots of activities, and it sounds like there's a lot of background building. Why do you feel it is important to offer students these experiences?
More than half of our kids graduate and go on to do amazing things. Yeah, and two of my other students, not at the same time, but they both went off to apprenticeships in automation factories, and they had their educations paid for because of their association with this program.
With the robotics program.
It would not, and I'm not exaggerating, those opportunities would not have been available to them had they not gone through this program.
At this program. Wow.
It's very specialized and unique. I try to drive that home for our kids because it's just amazing, the opportunities. Not to mention the $18 to $20 million in scholarships that are available specifically and only to First Robotics alumni.
They have that option, that opportunity to because of First Robotics.
Yeah.
Actually going through and experiencing this, there's a lot more than just working as a team. And that's also a big part of it. These are things that you don't get to experience in a lot of other extracurricular activities. With robotics, no matter what you do on the team, it will go with you. Like Phil said, if it's on your resume, that already a lot of especially big employers, they'll see that and they will understand what that means already. They'll understand the experiences behind that. So I would say that that's a huge thing. Just getting the experience, working as a team, learning a lot of the things that our mentors provide and learning from the older students and the things that they've experienced. That all is hugely important.
That is extremely great. And then you have real life experiences or evidence of what that looks like from the people who have gone through the program, who might come back and mentor or might come back and talk to the students. So it just drives it home from there. Okay, thank you. So we do have our students, Maddie and Sylias, here, who we have some questions for you guys as you share your experiences as well. And either one of you can answer first or however you like to do it. But what has your experience been like as a part of the robotics team?
Fun. I have a lot of fun. I get to meet with my friends once a week and solve problems and build stuff. I got to drive the robot, help operate the robot. We use 2 people, a pilot and a co-pilot. Our pilot operates the movement of the robot, and then I would control the elevator for this year's game.
I do agree with Sylias. It has been pretty fun, but I also feel like it's gotten me better at talking to people I wouldn't normally talk to. Because a lot of the time, I'll only talk to people that I'm already friends with or that I absolutely have to talk to. And with being on robotics, it's good to talk to everybody so you know them.
Okay, thank you. So there's lots of fun experiences that you all have, and you get to step out of your comfort zone and open up, and great skills to have, and I'm glad robotics is helping you all do that. What are the robotics competitions like for those who haven't experienced it? Tell us about those.
Fun, but it's good practice for when things are going crazy, because 1 minute you could be sitting in the pit, nothing's happening, and then the next minute the robot could come back and everything's broken, robot's not working, it was a chair bot this whole round. But I did get to meet new people, I made new friends. And it was an altogether very fun experience.
We work with pretty much every team, and we have a match every 10 minutes. My favorite part of the competition is when we all sit down and eat food.
And so each member has a job to do and a role. So what are some of the roles that they have?
My role was drive team, as I said. Maddie was the crew chief, which means that she was in charge of the pit. And then we had a whole bunch of people working in the pit that were following her orders and stuff. And then we have Jordan, who was the pilot, and then Jesse was the drive coach. Lots of jobs, lots of different jobs.
Good. So, Maddie, tell us about the crew chief. You're directing everybody, and tell us about that.
The pit is our little space where the build team is, our tools are at, and that's where the robot goes back to after each round. And if it's damaged, pit crew fixes it. And that's also where we can get the robot inspected, make sure it's up to everything that it needs to be. And competition is big. Depending on where you're at, sometimes the pits are in a different room than the arena. But some of them, the arena's in the same room, so it's really loud. Seeing the arena is pretty cool because you get to see it and be like, whoa, the robot we built is going to be out there playing on that arena. But altogether, it was pretty interesting talking to all these new people, working with them, seeing their robots. But competition's very hectic, all over the place, very loud. Still a fun experience, though.
That's amazing. Lots of and great experiences, especially as you all step into roles of leadership, roles of being part of a team and taking instruction from other student leaders. Those skills can take you a long way. So I applaud the entire team's I guess, interest and ability in being part of robotics as you guys work through this. So great. So you talked about your experiences, different roles on the team. Why do you think it is important to offer opportunities like this to students?
I think it's important because it gives something for the kids who don't really do sports to do after school. And again, as you mentioned, it gives us new experiences, something for our resumes too.
And then why would you encourage other students to give robotics a chance? Those who might be on the fence and like, I don't know about robotics. Why would you encourage them to give robotics a chance?
So I have actually recommended robotics to some of my friends, and I don't know if they're actually going to join. But what I told them is it's really fun. We get to meet with friends. You get to learn about how to build robots. Some of that experience with the robots can also probably help you repair like your car in the future. I mean, it's different, but like it's still important to know this stuff, or you're going to have to relearn it if you're trying to repair it yourself.
It's hard for students that are grown and raised in Buchanan to see the larger world out there. We're a small town, and unless you are brought away from that, you don't know what's there. We compete with schools that are 10 times the size of Buchanan. I mean, you could fit our high school, our entire high school, in their senior class. And we have schools that have 2 small rooms that are on an island in Upper Michigan. I mean, it's the entire gamut. But we all share the same program. We share this FIRST robotics program. And we all share the same ethos of gracious professionalism and cooperation. So to see what other schools are doing and how they're doing it and the robots that they bring to competition vastly expands the minds of everyone that's involved. And that works both ways. I mean, it's amazing, it's depressing to see what some of these really awesome schools can do, but it's also extremely awesome when small town Buchanan is able to do something the same as some of these huge other schools are able to do. So yeah, there's definitely some haves and have-nots kinds of things, and money is always an issue, but that's why we don't go to win, we go to compete and to show like, hey, yeah, we're from Buchanan, this is what we did. This is what we built, and this is who we are.
As a former team member myself, I mean, I spent 6 years on that team, and it hasn't been that long since I was a student. I may be a teacher now, but I can still understand, how I felt. And as a student, it's really nice to be able to just have a spot to flex your ingenuity. A lot of times, it's hard to draw out ideas. Especially with a younger group of students that haven't done this before. When I was on the team, we had a lot of older students who had been in the program for years. So there was this almost a fighting, not really fighting, but you've got all of these big ideas that are clashing, and everyone is like, well, here's why I think my idea would work, but here's why I think my idea would work. And that kind of discussion is energetic in a way that I've never experienced anywhere else. So if you want that kind of energy and you want that kind of experience, That's why I would encourage any student to join robotics.
Awesome. So exposure, diversity of thought, the competition, I would say the meat of those conversations help. Great. I have another question. So Phil, you mentioned that there is this difference between those who have and those who have not. And I know still it takes funds to run a program like this. Will you speak to how you're funded and then what you do throughout the year to get funding?
Sure. Actually, I have some facts that I'd like to share just to kind of give some perspective on how difficult funding is for Michigan teams, for example. In Indiana, last season, they had 71 teams. In Ohio, they had 73 teams. In Illinois, they had 69 teams. That's across the state for FRC. Michigan had 528 teams. We send about 80 teams every year to the World Championship. So Michigan sends more teams to the World Championship than other states even have teams.
Wow.
It's very competitive in Michigan to be a part of robotics. And the funding is tight. Mm-hmm. We are one of the biggest regions for robotics because of the industry base that exists in Michigan. I mean, we have cars, the car manufacturers, and we have a lot of automation that happens in Michigan that is not talked about. It's actually a major part of our economy, and people don't even realize that it is. So there's just a ton of business, but even with that being said, those dollars only go so far. So little Buchanan struggles every year to raise the $20,000 that we have to compete each year, and that's annually. Every year it's $20,000. That budget includes the $6,000 just right off the bat. $6,000 goes to pay for our membership and registration in the FIRST robotics program. That money is, we're told, used to pay for our 2 district events that we attend. Mm-hmm. So we have 2 guaranteed competitions that we go to each year. Those can be local, or sometimes we have to travel to go to those events. If you are successful and you make it to state, there's an additional $6,000 that you need to raise. And if you end up going to Worlds, which would be amazing if we ever made it that far, there would be another, on top of that, another $10,000 that you'd have to raise to go. So it is not at all unheard of for a well-off team that's very successful to have a $100,000 to $150,000 budget to run this program. Mm-hmm. I should mention that most of us are complete and total volunteers. No one gets paid to do what we are doing. And almost all of FIRST is run by volunteers. Mm-hmm. So that money goes into the programs and the support of the events and things that we do. For us, the $20,000 goes into paying that registration fee. It goes to the cost of building the robot. We can reuse a lot of parts. We try to reuse a lot of parts, but it still can be up to $6,000 just to put parts in the robot, because parts are expensive. And as Maddie had said, sometimes things break, often, and you have to have those spare parts to get yourself back up and running. And then there's just the general expenses, like we have to buy uniforms, we have to pay to get to competitions, and anyone that has teenagers knows how much food you have to have. These kids don't stop eating. Right. But during competition, it is vastly important, extremely important, that they stay hydrated and they stay fed, because you can have cranky kids during competitions, and they don't have a lot of time. I mean, there'll be minutes where they're sitting there kind of bored out of their mind, and then for a half an hour straight, they're going absolutely nuts trying to get everything done. So it's just, you're on call 24/7, and our events are 14-hour days. Mm-hmm. They're very, very long. For 3 days, it's 14 hours a day. So yeah, those are our big challenges. We don't even try to raise the additional money to go to state each year because we never know if we will. We were very fortunate a year ago to qualify for state, but we did not have the money, so we were not able to actually attend. That was really hard. So we've been working with some of our financial partners to start we put aside a state fund.
Okay.
And it's growing slowly, but that money is money that's dedicated to going to for the cost of going to state should we qualify to go again in the future. But $20,000 is a lot of money. It's huge. If it wasn't for grants and our amazing community supporters, there's no way that we would be able to do this program.
Awesome. All right. I know you mentioned who can participate. How do they, get in touch with either you or Mr. Layne with, I'm here at the high school now. Where do I sign up? Ready for robotics.
If you're at the high school, you can always come talk to me or you can always come talk to Mr. Layne. But we're both going to tell you the same thing. Come to one of our meetings. Mm-hmm. We don't have a sign up until the actual official season begins. You need to come to our space. You need to see what we're doing and decide if it's something that you're into. And most of the time, people will come. When they do come, they stick around. It's pretty awesome.
Great.
Yeah, you can just shoot us an email. In Buchanan, it's easy enough. Everyone has everyone's addresses. Also, want to mention that we have a Remind. A lot of teachers in our district use Remind, so you should be familiar with it. Remind helps you get all of the information that you need about upcoming meetings.
Thank you. Thank you, robotics team, for joining us on this episode of Bucks Blast podcast. And go Bucks!
Thank you for listening to Bucks Blast Podcast. Tune in next time as we hear more stories about the amazing individuals that shape our community. Until then, let's go Bucks!